Yeah, hi guys, good morning. And in today's session, we'll discuss about master and slave architecture in Jenkins. Okay, and what are the different triggering options available in Jenkins. And apart from that, we'll also see how can we take backup of our Jenkins server. Okay, so let me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, right. So this is our Jenkins server. Okay, and this is, I mean, just now I have created this Jenkins server. There is no jobs, nothing has been created yet. Okay, so setup and all, everyone is aware of setup, right? So in Jenkins, how to create one job now? Let me add one password for this.
By in new item.
Yeah. One second, guys. Let me add one password. Okay. So how to create one job? Go to dashboard, click on new item, and then job name. So for example, first job, and then click on freestyle and click on OK. Then it will ask us to configure different details for our job, right? So now in description, let me add as first job. Okay. And here in source code management, what we need to add? What should we add in source code management? So we have different options
GitHub
here.
URL.
Okay, so yeah, first is general, and then second we have source code management SCM. Here we need to add our GitHub repository, means wherever we have stored our source code. So in our case, what is the source code application we are using? We are using github.com, right? So in GitHub, we have this application, Solve Simple Customer App. So let me copy this URL and paste. Since this is public, no need to provide any credentials, but still we are able to see some error. So why are we seeing this error?
You need to install Git.
Yes, right.
Because Git is not
Because
initialized in the CLI.
yeah, so if you'll see git -- version on Jenkins server, Git is not installed. That's the reason we are able to see that issue. Okay, so -y install Git. Okay, try to remove this and put this again. That error will be disappeared, right? And then next part is in build triggers. We have different options, and
Excuse
out
me,
of
Sabir.
these three are
I wanted to ask
yes.
everyone. I wanted to ask everyone
Sorry.
whether everyone's screen is working properly because this whole of my room is not working and even I'm getting some stuck the
Yeah,
video.
same here also. Also, also a little bit getting slow.
Yes, sir, your voice is talking.
In my whole room, the video is not
I'm facing
working.
the connection loss.
It's not being connected.
I'm able to see the screen.
Let me just check. Guys, still same issue.
Actually, your voice is not audible, sir. I get it, sir. It's like getting stuck.
Okay.
I think we
Okay.
need to join again ending this call.
Guys, whoever is facing issue, drop and connect again. Drop the call and connect back. Guys, still same issue, or is this better now?
No, it's clear and it's
It's
better.
okay now.
Still same?
No, better,
No,
better.
no, better.
Yeah, Saber, it's better now here in my room.
Swati?
Yeah, now it is okay, sir.
Yeah, okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, we'll continue and we'll see if still same problem, then we will fix something else. Okay, so in Jenkins, guys, 1 second. Okay. Okay, so we have different triggering options available in Jenkins. Okay, so we have build periodicals, we have GitHub trigger for Git ACM polling and poll ACM. Okay, so first we'll focus on GitHub hook triggering for Git ACM polling. So what is this? Why do we have so many options here? What is the use of build triggerings? So what will happen is, with the help of build trigger options, we can decide when our job should get triggered. I mean, this job will be automatically triggered without any manual intervention. Okay, so without any manual intervention, this job will get triggered automatically. So one such example is webhooks. So how can we configure webhooks? First, we need to, with the help of webhooks, what we can achieve. So with the help of webhooks, what will happen is, whenever there is a change in the source code, means whenever there is a new commit happened, whenever there is a new commit happened on our source code, then automatically this job will get triggered. Okay, so this is webhooks are configured for automatic deployment or automatic CI/CD for development environments. We cannot configure webhooks for production because in production we don't want any change without our idea. Means every change we need to trigger. But whereas for development, because there will be a lot of development activities happening, for every few seconds or few minutes there will be some new code which will be pushed to our repository, and they want to deploy and they want to test the application, right? So in that case, every time, I mean, for example, developer has pinged you that he has completed his code. So we cannot log in, we cannot create one ticket, we cannot log in, and we cannot click on build trigger, right? Because he will not be having the access. So what we'll do, we'll configure webhook. So what will happen? So without any manual intervention, whenever there is a change in the source code, then our job will automatically get triggered. For that, we can configure webhooks. Okay. So how to configure webhooks? first go to your repository. So this code, right? So this code I want to configure webhook. So we'll go to this code, go to settings, go to webhooks. Here we have the option called webhooks. Okay, and then we need to configure the add webhook option here. Add webhook. It is asking for MFA. Okay, let me enter this one. Okay, then it is asking for the payload URL. So where can we configure the payload URL? What is payload URL? Means on which particular URL this needs to be configured. So we have our Jenkins URL, right? So let me configure this, copy, paste here, and then we need to add the extension called GitHub-webhook. So this path prefix should be added. So once we have added the payload URL, and then here we can select which events needs to be triggered. Means anything which is being sent to this particular repository or any changes. So we can decide what needs to be triggered. Okay, so send me everything means whatever change has been implemented, whether it is a PR, whether it is any commit, then this payload URL should trigger our Jenkins job. Okay, and then click on add webhook. So once done, what will happen here? We can see as of now it is in indication, means not yet successful. So what it will do? It will send out one test message to my Jenkins server. So once the message has been successfully delivered, then only here we can see as green mark. Okay, let me just refresh this. (54 to 49). GitHub-webhook. Okay, update. See, it tried to send one message, but it got failed. It is trying to ping to my Jenkins server, but this is getting failed. So once it is successfully done, then only we can implement this. Okay. So what happened? Why this is not getting triggered?
Saber, is it webhooks instead of webhook?
I think it is only webhook. Let me delete this and let me try to create one new webhook. Okay, so webhooks, and in the payload URL we need to copy the URL of our Jenkins job, Jenkins URL, and then configure the path called /GitHub-webhook. Okay, and click on send me everything, add webhook. So it is trying to trigger now. Let us see. Here we can also see this webhook was successfully created. We sent a ping payload to test it out. So once the test has been successfully validated, then only it will be in the green color. Okay, this hook has never been triggered. So let me just try to refresh this. Now here we can see green mark, means it was able to successfully test our checking. It was able to successfully deliver the message. Okay, so once done, what we need to do is go to your Jenkins job. Okay, and just enable this option GitHub hook triggering for Git HCM coding. So once the job has been enabled, then what will happen to our payload URL and to this particular job we have synchronized. I mean we have a connections. Okay, and click on save. Okay, now if
So,
you see this,
hello.
yes,
So, what is SEM there?
source
The
code
below.
management.
Okay, done.
Okay, so in this job, only to hold for few seconds, what I will do is I will just add one basic command, sleep command. Sleep 60. So generally sleep command, what it will do, it will hold my cursor for 60 seconds. Okay, only so that we can view the output. Now if I'll go to my dashboard here, see first job, it has, I mean, we have never executed our first job, right? So now what I am doing, I will go to my Jenkins, sorry, GitHub, my code, and I am trying to update my code, means I am making some changes manually. See readme.md, right? So this file, edit, I'm just trying to add one dot in this particular file and will update my commit message committed. So now what happened, we have updated our commit, means there is a new change in our source code. So what should happen, our Jenkins should automatically trigger. See first job, this is automatically getting triggered without any manual intervention. Webhooks are very important and this is used for development environment. This will be asked in interviews, guys, what is webhooks. So at that point of time we need to explain them that webhooks will help us to trigger our jobs whenever there is a change in the source code without any manual intervention. How can we configure? We need to go to GitHub settings, click on webhooks, pass the payload URL and what kind of events needs to be triggered, and in our Jenkins server we need to enable git SCM polling on the build details. Okay, so now what will happen, this job will automatically get executed. So whenever the developers are making any changes for the development environment, we are going to configure webhooks, because every time I will not be able to, I mean I will not be available to come to this job and click on build now, right? So this will help them to easily trigger their job if there is any resource available or not. Understood? See, the job has been successfully completed. If I'll open this first job, configurations, we have configured only one stage, right? We have configured only git clone stage only. Yes or no?
Yes.
So where can I
Yes.
find all these details? I mean, where is my source code downloaded? In my Jenkins
Workspace.
server, ed var lib Jenkins workspace, and if I'll do my first job ls, then we can find all our source code has been downloaded here. Means whatever we are trying to run on the Jenkins server will be, we can find all the details in our workspace only. Okay, apart from this, for example, again if I'm trying to update the changes, so what will happen if I'm trying to update readme.md dot, and I'm just removing this dot. So what should happen? This
It
job
will
will
build now.
again
It will build
get
the job.
triggered. Yes, see here, see build queue. So our job is again getting triggered. So this is one option which is available in Jenkins. Okay, and this is very important. Okay, so let me cancel this build. Okay,
Saber, yesterday you said something about the idle, right? So I forgot to point that why does it take the second idle first and the first idle after that?
see this is nothing but our number of executors. This will get idle, means it is doing nothing. Okay, if there is any job, then it will perform the activity. So executors, so how many executors when you configure, that depends upon the our Jenkins server capacity. We can configure 2, we can configure 5. So if I'll configure 2, what will happen, at a time I can run 2 jobs. If I'll configure 5, at a time I can run 5 jobs.
Okay, Saber.
Okay, so now what we have did, we have configured the polling, right? So let me again go to the configurations. Let me disable this option because we don't want webhooks for now. So I have disabled this. Now we have one more option called poll SCM. Okay, so if I click on poll SCM and if I click on this option here, we can see minute, hour, date of month, date of week. Did we see this anywhere in our training?
It's like cron job.
Cron
Yeah,
job.
so this is like a cron job, means we can schedule at which particular time this job should get triggered. So what I will do, start 1 2 3 4 5. So 5 starts means what will happen, basically every minute, every hour, every day of month, every week this job should get triggered. And let me click on save and let us see what will happen. So I have configured cron job for every minute, every day, every week, every month, every year. Okay, so now what will happen, let us see. We'll wait for 1 minute and then we'll watch what will happen. These three build options are important. This will be asked in interviews. Okay, so one is webhook, one is Policium, one is build periodical. Okay, so let us see. Anything happened? Did it trigger any job?
No, not yet.
Nothing,
No.
right? Nothing, right? Okay, so let me just again go to my job. This time go to configurations and build triggers. I will disable this. I don't want Policium. So we'll talk about Policium after a couple of minutes. Okay, so let me disable this and let me explore the option called build periodical. So if I click on build periodical, again here also it is asking similar one. I mean here also it is similar to our cron job. 3 4 5 5 starts means every minute this should get executed. So here, why do we have two similar options? Why do we have two similar options? I mean, build periodical is also similar to cron job. Policium is also similar to cron job. So why are we seeing two different options with same feature? So let us see the difference. So let me select build periodical this time and pass 5 starts. Every minute this job should get triggered and click on save. Now let us wait for 1 minute. Okay, 11:46, right? So we'll wait for 11:47. See what happened. This job has got triggered automatically. Yes or no? This is triggering or not? Build periodical.
Yes.
But why it is not triggering in Policium? What is the difference between build periodical and Policium? Both the options look similar. Both the options look similar, right? There was no difference.
But we haven't changed any changes in vector.
Let me cancel this job as well. Okay. Let me go to my job configurations. Let me remove this command. It is taking a lot of time. Let me keep it for 15 seconds only. Okay. Now let me again go back to my policy. 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. Okay, same. So now what will happen? If I'll wait for every 1 minute also, it will not trigger my job. Nothing will happen. Okay. So when this polysium will get triggered? When this polysium will get triggered? So polysium will, what it will do is, polysium for every minute. Basically here I have configured as polysium, right? So here we have our polysium and I have scheduled for every 1 minute. So what it is doing, it is going to my GitHub repository and checking if there is any change or not. For every 1 minute, it is going to my GitHub repository and it is checking if there is any change or not. If there is any change, then only polysium will trigger my job. If there is no change, then polysium will never get triggered. We are only allowing our polysium to go and check to our repository. If there are any new changes in the code, then only trigger. So when it should go and check for every 1 minute. But whereas build periodical, what it is doing, whether there is a change or no change, it should trigger based upon the timing. Means I want my job to execute at this particular time, whether there is a updated code or same old code is available. Understood?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, understood.
Now I have configured polysium, right? So let me just make some changes. Again, let me go to my readme.md file and remove this dot. Click on commit changes. So there is a change, updated code now, right? So what will happen? My polysium will go and it will check. Okay, there is one change. Then this job will get triggered. Say first job, it is in queue. Now this is getting triggered. If there was no change, then what will happen? It will never get executed. So polysium can be used to execute our job based upon the commits. I mean, if there is any change only, it will get triggered. Build periodicals, whether there is change, whether there is no change, it should get executed at that particular point of time. That's it. Understood?
Yes.
That's clear?
Yes.
Clear.
Yes.
Okay. And then we have something called build after other projects are built. Okay. So what this will do, for example, let me create one more job. Let me create one more job. Second job. Okay, freestyle project. Click on OK. Project, and in build steps, I'm trying to add one basic script. Sleep 30 means, so the sleep 15 means it should hold our job for 15 seconds, and then build triggers. In build triggers, we have this option, build after other projects are built. So if I'll enable this option, which project needs to be checked? Okay, so first job. So what will happen? So what will happen? So this job will only trigger once the first job is been successfully completed. So there is a dependency between first job and second job. These type of jobs we called as downstream jobs. So we have downstream jobs, upstream jobs. Okay. So first job, and then I'm trying to execute second job. In our case, this is upstream job. To whom? To second job. Okay. And to for first job is a, sorry, this is downstream job. Okay. So we have two different type of jobs as well. One is called as upstream jobs, one is called as downstream jobs. So here we have two different jobs, first job and second job. So what I am trying to do, I am trying to create one dependency on second job. Means this second job will get only executed if first job has been successfully created. If first job didn't executed well, then second job will not get triggered. So these kind of dependencies also we can configure in our Jenkins. Okay. So for that, what we need to do, just go to your configuration, build after other projects are built, projects to watch. So which particular project it should check. So first job. So what is this now? I mean, whether it is a upstream job or downstream job.
It is an upstream job.
Yeah, this is one upstream job. Okay. And when this job should get triggered? Trigger only if build is stable, means if the build has been successfully completed. Or even if the build is failed, then also this job should get triggered. So we can select what options you want to use. So in my case, I'm using trigger only if build is stable and click on save.
So the first option would be the best practice, right? Compared to others.
And that depends upon what kind of job we are executing.
Okay.
Okay. So there might be some jobs, even the first job has been successfully completed or failed, you want this to be triggered. In this case, we cannot select the option what I have selected now. Okay.
Right.
If there is dependency, then only we will go with the stable builds. Okay. So now we have done with our configuration. So let me execute my first job. Click on build now. Here you can see. For this first job, the downstream job is second job. But whereas for second job, the upstream job is first job. Okay, first job is getting triggered. If I'll open this, see, upstream job is first job here. Now see, automatically second job is getting triggered. So this is how we can configure upstream jobs and downstream projects as well. Clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Others?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
ఏంది ఇది అప్స్ట్రీమ్ ఏంది డౌన్ స్ట్రీమ్ ఏంది ఇదన్నీ ఎందుకు అనుకుంటురా?
It will be useful while testing.
Yeah, so this is something which you can expect in interviews. They will be asking about upstream job, downstream job. Yes.
What is the difference of between both webhooks and PoleSM? Both the functionality is same. After the changes are triggering.
Webhook
Is there any
working
other difference?
in terms of protocol only there will be difference. Webhooks will be working based upon the ping. Okay. Both the options are almost similar, but in webhooks you no need to configure any timing. Whenever change it will trigger. But in PoleSM, what if suppose I have added as for every 4 hours it should go and check. Okay, so 12 o'clock will be my 4 hours completed. Okay, so what will happen after 5 minutes I have made any change, then it will go and check after 4 hours.
Yes, got it.
Okay, and then we have seen the build triggerings, right? Then we have something called master and slave architecture in Jenkins. This is also very important. Okay, so but why do we need master and slave architecture? So we have something called master and slave architecture. Means this is my Jenkins server. Okay, this will be configured as master and we'll have different slave machines. This is very important, guys. Slave 01, 02. Now, what is the use of having different slave machines? So this is my master machine and I am having two different slave machines. So what is the use in having multiple slave machines?
It will distribute the work. Like we have got the 10 jobs at a time. It will distribute 5 to one and another 5 to second one.
No. Yeah, what you said is right. Basically, master will help us to distribute our work to the slave machines, but that doesn't mean that it will distribute 5 to one slave and second 5 another 5 to second slave. That depends upon how we are going to configure. Okay, so basically master and slave architecture will help us. Master and slave. Okay, so master and slave architecture will help us to have high available of our Jenkins server, as well as to offload all the work from the master to the slave machines. Or else what will happen is, for example, this Jenkins server will be used by different teams in my company, not only our project. Another team members with different projects will also use the same Jenkins server. So if suppose there are, if everyone is trying to run the jobs, 20 jobs at a time, this is a T2.micro server. So what will happen? If I am trying to execute 20 jobs at the same time and this configuration is T2 micro, so what might happen? We might see some slowness in the Jenkins server. Our Jenkins server might get crashed because of the high CPU utilizations, right? So what will happen if our master has been down? Then all the projects which were onboarded on the Jenkins server, they will not be able to build and deploy. Means these jobs will not be able to execute if my server is down, right? So what we'll do is we'll create different slave machines, and in each slave machine, for example, what I will do, in my master I have different jobs. For example, our team is using Java based jobs, another team is using Python based jobs, another team is using Node.js based job. So what we need to do, for example, on this Jenkins server, three different type of jobs are running, means Java based, Python based, Node.js based. So what we need to do, we need to install Java dependencies, we need to install Python dependencies, we need to install Node.js dependencies on this master machine, right? So there will be a lot of dependencies for every application. So what we'll do is, instead of installing everything on the same machine, I will create different slave machine. Means this slave 01 is only limited to Java applications. Slave 02 is limited only to Python applications, and all the dependencies related to Python will be deployed or installed in slave 02. Slave 01, I will be installing all the Java based dependencies. So whenever a Java job is getting triggered, then master will send this job to slave 01. Whenever a Python job is getting triggered, it will send this job to Python slave 02. Why? Because all the dependencies related to Python are in slave 02. That's why it will send all the jobs to slave 02. But how it is actually sending? I mean, who is going to indicate master that slave 02 is related to Python, slave 01 is related to Java? That depends upon labels. Yesterday we have seen about labels, right? So what I will do, in my job, I will configure that this Java based job should be executed on slave 01. So based upon that label name, it will send my job to the slave 01. Understood? And this slave will only accept the jobs with this specific label only, or without this label, it will not accept any job. That's how I am going to configure. Now what will happen? Whatever job is getting, it will be redirected to the slave machine. So our master machine is only used in terms of offloading the work to the slave machines. Means master is commanding to slave 01 that execute this job, and slave 01 it should execute. I mean it should only follow the command which has been sent by master. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So now let me try to create one more EC2 for our slave machine, and let us see the configurations. Okay, so this is my master, right? So click on launch instance. Slave 01 is the name only for identification, and in Amazon Linux 2 image I am using. Okay, T2 micro is the type, and the key name is first server, and then security group, existing security group, that is default one, and click on launch instance. So what I have did now, I have created one more virtual machine, I mean one more EC2 instance. This is getting provision. Once up and running, let us see. Okay, so let me try to connect slave 01. Connect. Don't get confused with the slave configurations because I will be switching different tabs. Okay, so our slave is up and running now. So this is my master, Jenkins master, and this is my slave 01. So what we need to do, let me just switch to root user. Okay, the only dependency for our slave machine is Java, means no need to install Jenkins. We just need to install Java because this is the dependency for the slave machine configuration. Okay, so we need to install only Java.
Python.
Okay, so we need to install Java. So let me first try to install Java. So where is my document? We have this option, right? So let me try to install Java. Let me copy this code, paste in slave 01. I am trying to install this in slave 01. And meantime, let me get the document. So it is asking for yes or no, right? So let me click on yes. It will install Java 11. Here we have this document. I will be sharing this document. Okay, so these are the different steps what we need to be executed on the slave machine. First, I have switched to root user, then install JDK11, that is dependency prerequisite, and then I need to create one keygen. Okay, SSH-keygen on the slave machine. So my slave configuration is done. Java -f1 version. We can see Java 11 version is up and running. Now I will execute SSH-keygen command. So what will happen? It will generate one SSH keygen. Basically, we need to make sure of passwordless authentication. That's the reason I'm trying to create one SSH keygen. Okay, keygen is also created. Then I'm trying to copy this particular file. So cd.ssh. Okay, I'm trying to copy this id underscore rsapub in my authorized key. Let me copy and paste. Okay, the content of this particular file has been copied in authorized underscore keys. Okay, and then change the permissions to 700. So let me copy and let me save. Okay, done. Yes, so we have successfully created keygen and added the permissions as well. So once done, then we need to go to our master machine, and in master machine I need to create one directory called .ssh, where this directory should be created inside varlib Jenkins. Okay, cd varlib Jenkins. Here let me create mkdir .ssh. One directory has been created. Basically you can execute this command, it will create the file for you. Okay, and then change the directory. So let me change the directory, cd.ssh. so this is the directory, and then I can execute this command. So key scan command, what it will do, it will try to copy the key from your slave machine and store in this particular location. Let me copy this. Okay, so key scan, and then this is nothing but our host name. So what is the IP of my node machine? Slave node IP or host name. This is nothing but my slave machine, right? So slave machine means this one. So let me copy this key. Okay, and then I am trying to copy this particular file into this particular location, means under varlib jenkins.ssh. So where should I execute this command? This command should be executed in master machine, this one, and let me paste. And if I'll do ll, here you can see one file has been copied called known host, where in this particular location varlib jenkins.ssh. Clear? Key scan command will copy the key, it will scan this particular node machine for any keys and then copy. So where I am trying to copy, I am trying to copy in this particular location, and then this file is available. So once done, let me again change the permissions. I want to change the permissions, ownership to Jenkins user, because all the jobs which are being executed by Jenkins will be specific to Jenkins users only. Okay, so if you see this is root user, right? So I want to change this to Jenkins user. If I do ll, yes, we can see Jenkins now. Or else Jenkins will not be able to read this particular file because of permission issues. Okay, and then 700 permissions to this file. Done. Successfully I have changed the permissions as well. Now we need to go to Jenkins GUI, means graphical user interface. This is graphical user interface. Go to manage Jenkins, and then go to nodes option, click here. Okay, this is built-in node, means our master machine, this machine wherever we are trying to run this. Okay, and then click on new node name. So what should be your node name? So anything, whatever you want, you can configure. So in my case, I'm configure slave 01. I'm trying to add as permanent agent. Okay, click on create, and then it is asking for description. Slave for Java. Guys, 1 second, guys. Okay, so what we have did, we need to configure the, description is something which is optional. Whatever you want, you can write. Okay, number of executors. So how many executors you want, means at a time how many jobs you want to run on this particular slave machine. So I will use as 2, means I want 2 jobs to be executed. Okay, and then remote root directory. Remote root directory is mandatory, means on the slave machine where should all the jobs related data or information should be stored. In our case, we haven't created any directory, right? So this is my slave machine. So we haven't created any directory. So I am just copying this path. Or else if you want, you can create in one directory called slave workspace. Slave workspace is my directory, and I want all the jobs related details should be stored here. Slave workspace. Okay, and here this is very important. Label is nothing but our naming convention. I mean, out of which name you want to configure. So this job will only execute. I mean, this slave machine will only execute the jobs with the label called Java. Okay, and then here we have one more option called use this node as much as possible. Means if this node is free, then Jenkins master will send some other jobs as well, or else only build jobs with label expressions matching this node. Means only the jobs with this particular label should only get executed. So I will be using second options, means I want to restrict my slave to execute only Java related label jobs only. Okay, and then we have launch method. So we have configured XSH, right? So I will be using via SSH this option. And then host machine. Host machine means your IP address related to your worker machine, I mean the slave machine. So let me copy this particular IP. Okay, and then credentials. So do we have any credentials configured? No. Yeah, we do have credentials to log into the server, but I haven't configured anything. Means first iPhone server. So this is my PIM key, right? So if you see this, in order to connect, where is this option? In order to connect to this server, we were using some authentication. See this key. Now I should copy this key in these credentials. Okay, so let me click on add credentials, that is Jenkins. So here we have our SSH username with private key. Okay, scope is global. Global means it will be available to Jenkins, all the slave machines, and different options. I mean, to everyone. Then ID, I will configure as slave 01 underscore key. Okay, username. Username is nothing but EC2-user is something which we use to connect, right? And then passphrase, enter key directly. And so let me copy that key. So where is my key? This is in downloads. I'm trying to copy this key for server. Okay, so this is my PEM key. So I will be copying this PEM key from here. Do not copy any spaces. Okay, just copy the PEM key and paste here and click on save, and then click on save. So we have created one key successfully. The key name is EC2-user. Okay, and then host key verification strategy means we have copied one key, right? So here if you see this one. So what it is doing, our credit while trying to connect to the node machine, it will go to this particular location where live jenkins.ssh, and it will check for the file called known host. If this file is available, then only our authentication will be possible. I mean, our authentication will be validated. Okay, and then click on save. So once done, we have almost done our configurations. Let us check the logs related to slave 01. So if I'll open slave 01, let us see what will happen. See, the agent is offline because Jenkins failed to launch the agent process on it. Means something happened. I mean, something went wrong. So how can we see what went wrong? With the help of logs. If I'll click here, See, if I'll click here, see, we can see what else, I mean, what all the different things which has happened. Okay, so authentication successful means SSH key, it has went to this particular location and the authentication has been successfully done. And then remote user environment is this. Okay, home EC2, it was able to successfully log in. But here if you see this, couldn't figure out the Java version of root slave workspace, means this particular location permission is getting denied for this particular location. Why? Because as I said, Jenkins will be executing with the help of Jenkins user, and this is in the root which is not been accepting. Okay, permission denied. Because of this permission denied, our workspace, I mean our node machine got failed. Again it is trying, again it will see the same issue. Okay, so it will keep on trying and it will face the same issues. Okay, so what we need to do, let us check about the permissions. Okay, this is my slave machine, this particular location. If you see this particular location, root, okay, see root. So let me change the ownership to Jenkins Jenkins and then slave workspace. Okay, no, I have executed this wrong. Let me just check the users which are available. Okay, EC2 for user is available, right? So let me add the permissions for EC2 for user. Chmod and let me open all permissions. So now let me go to my Jenkins GUI again, go to my slave and click on launch agent, so that it will again try to start launch agent. This time let us see what will happen. So it is trying to relaunch. Or else let me do one thing. Okay, instead of using root user, sudo, let me do one thing, exit. Okay, so this is my EC2 user, right? So let me copy this particular username. I mean this particular location should be my workspace location. So let me go to my slave configurations and let me make this change. Let me change the path. Instead of root, I am using EC2 user. Click on save and click on relaunch agent. So what will happen? It will try to start now again. Now if you'll see here, agent successfully connected and online. Agent is connected and online. Okay, if you'll go to your dashboards, here you can see slave 01 is connected. Okay, so this is how we need to configure master and slave architecture. We can add different slave machines. So now what I will do, we have configured the label as Java, right? So first job, so let me try to execute this job. Configuration, Okay, here we have this option restrict where this job can be run, means if I'll select this, it is asking for label. So I'm trying to execute as Java. Okay, so if I select this and click on save, then what will happen, this particular first job will be executed on slave 01 only. If I'll click on build now, and if I'll go to dashboards, let me click on build now again. So build number 7 has been filled, right? Console output. See, what happened is when I have executed my first job on slave Java, so it is failed. So why it is failed? For example, whenever you see such kind of issues that your job has been failed, then always check for console output. From console output only you will be able to understand what happened. Here you can see building remotely on slave 01. Okay, and then we can see git init means unable to clone this particular repository. Why? Because git is not installed on slave 01. Here if you see git command not found. So let me install git mif1y install git. So always check for the logs related to your job, then only you will understand what needs to be done. So this job is executing on slave 01. In slave 01, it should have all the dependencies which are required to execute the job. Okay, so now I have installed git successfully. Now let me execute this job again. Build now, and if I'll go to dashboard, here you can see slave 01, this job is being able to execute. So once this job is able to execute successfully, what will happen? It will trigger second job, because second job is a downstream job. And where will this second job executed? This will execute on the master machine. See, here you can find this. Why? Because no labels has been configured, and this slave machine is only accepting the jobs which are being tagged with the label called Java. If there is no tag, then this slave will not allow anyone to execute any job. The second job has been successfully executed. If I'll open second job and then build output, then you can see this has been executed running as system. But whereas our first job, this has been executed in our remotely build, means our slave 01. See, slave 01. Okay, now all the data related to this first job will be stored in slave 01, means here in slave 01 I have created one directory, right? I have configured this as my root location. So here if you see workspace has been created, workspace ls, then we have our first job, then you can find all the details, I mean all the files related to your first job. Understood?
Yes.
Everyone, why there is no response?
Sabir, we created second job and third job, right? So where we can find it in the CLI, AWS?
So where is your second job getting triggered? Your second job is getting triggered in your master machine. So this is my master. Okay, so this is my master cd where lib Jenkins workspace. In this particular location, you can find all the details related to your second job.
Right.
Okay, this is here also you can see first job. Why? Because earlier we have executed in master machine. That's the reason here it is showing as, I mean here also it is available. But the latest data, whatever changes we have made, that is been stored in this particular slave 01. Okay.
All right.
So for example, if this slave machine is down, mark this no temporary offline, means I am trying to make this temporarily offline. I don't want slave to be on. So what happened? Now here if you see slave 01 is offline. So if I am trying to execute my first job, build now, what will happen? This will be in queue only. Why? Because This job is unable to find any slave machine with the label called Java. So it will be still waiting until and unless it will find any slave with the label called Java. It will be waiting. Okay, here if it's open this and if you'll open the output, see pending 01 is offline because of that slave machine. Okay.
So if there are any more slaves and for example there are two, if any one of them is active, then it will work on that, right? It will build on that.
It will accept. So generally what we need to do is, for example, let me bring back my slave machine, bring this node back online. Okay, this slave machine is online, so first job now it will execute on the slave 01. See, the moment it is online, it has got its label and it is executing. So generally what we need to do is always make sure that this is our node machines, right? So slave 01. Okay, if you go to the configurations, always keep this as, use this node as much as possible. So what will happen? There might be some jobs which will be, because of lot of jobs running, for example, duplicate, let me show you this. Okay, because there might be some jobs which might be in queue. So what will happen if suppose our master machine there are only 2 executors and 2 jobs are running and the other jobs will be in queue which are not restricted with a label called Java, right? So what will happen if we'll enable this particular option, whenever if this slave machine is free, if no jobs are running on this slave machine, then it will try to pull some other jobs as well, so that to offload the work from the master machine. And this is one of the best practice. Always try to use this node as much as possible. This option, do not go for only build jobs with label expressions matching this node unless and until it is a priority. Means if your manager or team member has asked you to restrict this job only for Java based label, then only you should go for this. The reason why I'm telling is, if I'll open this, then there might be some jobs which might be running on this slave machine. Nothing will happen, right? So what will happen if something is running on here? Okay.
Means it will run another.
It will also try to execute other jobs. For example,
not only Java. With label.
Yeah. So use this node as much as possible. I have saved this. So my first job, it will always run on Java slave only. I am trying to run my first job again. See, it will always run on slave 01 only. And second job what it will do, for example, let me try to click on build now. Let us see where it is getting executed. See, second job is also getting executed on slave 01. Why? Because we have enabled that option, use this node as much as possible. Means do not keep the burden on master. Try to execute jobs whenever slaves are free. Clear?
But it will have not only Java but also other sites.
Yes. Other
problem if you want. If you want
other
to,
jobs which are not restricted or which are not tagged with any label. This second job is not tagged with any label, right? That's the reason it is getting executed. If I have tagged this, then it will wait for his slave only. It will not come to slave 01.
okay, but we are using slave 1 for only Java. If I use other jobs also, it will be getting jumbled.
Yes.
If I want to
which are open means which are untagged jobs. There is no label configured to that job. There is no restrictions configured to that job. That jobs might also get executed on the slave machine. If I have enabled use this node as much as possible option.
If I create another slave with no labels, in that slave I can run that jobs.
Yeah. See, in simple words, try to understand this. My first job has been created with a tag called Java. So it will only run on the slave machine slave 01 only. Apart from that, this first job will not get executed anywhere.
Yes.
Okay. Second job is not tagged with any label. So it can run anywhere. Wherever we have enabled this option called use this node as much as possible, it might execute any job which is untagged. Means there is no label attached to the job. Clear?
Okay.
Okay. So now we have seen master and slave architecture as well. This is very important, guys. This will be asked in interviews. Okay. So for now, what I will do, let me remove my slave machine. I don't want slave because we have tested this. This is working successfully. So let me terminate my instance. Okay, I have what I have did. I have disabled my slave 01. So let me remove. Let me delete this agent. So I have successfully deleted my slave 01. Okay. So now we should always, I mean, for example, here if you see this 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, I mean, here we are able to see 11 different build results. How many build results we are able to see? Sheetal, how many build results we are able to see?
11.
11, right? So what is happening means I don't want to store all the build results. For example, this job will be used for next 6 months. Then how many build results we can expect? 500, 600? I don't want to see all the build results. Or what will happen is this is trying to store some memory. I mean, this is using some storage. We should also maintain the storages as well, right? So storage is also very important for us. I cannot just simply store anything which is not required for me. So we should always make sure of log rotations. So log rotations, log rotation. Okay, so what will happen? For example, let me go to configurations. Let me disable this because my slave is not available right now, right? So let me remove this. Okay, execute concurrent build. Here we have the option called discard old builds. If I'll click this, then we have the concept called log rotation. Means it is trying to rotate your logs. Log is nothing but your history, what you have did. Okay, so days to keep log or maximum number of builds to keep. So I want only last 5 builds to be seen on my screen. That's it. Or else you can also keep 10, means 10 days of logs will be kept. So in our case, we have provisioned our Jenkins just now, so I cannot test that, right? So I will be testing 5 logs. So click on save, click on build. Let us see what will happen now. So I have executed the build number 12. Build number 12 is getting executed. Okay, once this is successfully done, then let us see what will happen. Log rotations strategy is very important. Always make sure of log rotations, not only in Jenkins, in any technology, in any tool, we should always maintain our logs. Here if you see this, see 12, 11, 10, 9, 8 means only last 5 logs are available. Remaining logs are being cleaned up. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, for example, we have only one machine, that is master, right? So this is one master. So what if something goes wrong? Means, for example, this master has been deleted or not available. My production pipelines are running on this master machine. My production server pipelines or jobs, everything are running on this master. So if this master is down or not available, so what will happen? There is no slave machines. We have only master. If this master is down, so what will happen? There might be impact in the releases. Means we are trying to use Jenkins only for the continuous integration and continuous deployments, right? So we might see issues. I mean, we might face problems in releases. Our application will not be able to release, as well as there will be a lot of problems or a lot of impact on the business as well. So we should always take backup of Jenkins server. This is also very important. Means I should always have a backup of my Jenkins server. All the jobs should be backup and stored in any different location or different server. So if something goes wrong with this Jenkins, then at least we'll have the backup, and then we can create one more setup. I mean, we can replicate my Jenkins. So how can we do this backup? How can we do this backup, and what are the different things you will be taking up in backup? So for example, where, so if I look, this is my master array where lib Jenkins. In this directory, we have all the things related to my current Jenkins server. Means we have all the job related details, we have all the plugins, we have all the node machine details, we have all the workspaces. So we have all the secrets. Everything is available in this particular directory only. So if I copy this directory by using any bash script or by using any plugin, so what will happen? If I try to copy this one, so what will happen? If I extract this particular workspace, then we'll have the complete backup of our Jenkins. For example, so
basically we are replicating it, whole of it.
we are trying to take backup so that if something goes wrong, we have some other info. I mean, we have at least some details related to our jobs and data. Okay, so tar -cvf, and then what else? Let me do cd. Okay, tar -cvf. This particular directory will have all the details, right? Jenkins.tar, or else I will try to create this backup.tar. This particular directory Jenkins fit enter. So now what is happening? We are trying to take a copy of all our directories which are available inside our Jenkins. Now with the help of this Jenkins backup, what I will do, I mean, once this star is been successfully completed, let me show you what we can do. Okay, so if I'll do ll, here we have our backup file. Now I can SCP this backup file to any other location, means any other server or any central repository. So we should have a mechanism which will automatically take backup of our Jenkins for every 3 days or 4 days or every 6 days, and it should transfer this backup copy to any XYZ location. Even if something goes wrong, then we have this particular directory what we can use. Yes or no? Understood? So for this, we need to implement batch scripting. That batch script will automatically get triggered based upon our cron job, and it will copy or tar all the files. And it will store this backup in any other location. Okay, so that is one way by using batch scripting. And another way is we have the plugin called Rethin plugin. Rethin backup plugin. So this plugin will also help us to take backup. So go to Jenkins. Where do we have our plugins? Go to this one. Available plugins. Okay, we have this backup, sorry. Okay, the name was thin backup plugin. Okay, so we can configure this plugin install. So once done, and Jenkins, and then I think where is that option available? Okay, here we have thin backup. If I click this, okay, if I click on backup now, so what will happen? It will automatically take the backup of our Jenkins server. And where this is storing? you need to check for the credentials, means you need to configure the backup directory and when this backup should be automatically triggered. Okay, so everything we can configure in this particular settings. So once done, this plugin will help us to take the backup of our Jenkins server. So with the help of Within plugin and with the help of bash scripting, we can take the backup. We can implement any solution as per our feasibility. Okay, so once, for example, this is the tar file. So what I can do, I can copy this particular tar file to another server. Means if my Jenkins server is down, okay, if this Jenkins server is down, so what I can do, for example, let me try to create one more instance only for backup Jenkins server. Okay, for example, assume that our Jenkins server is down, we are unable to log into our Jenkins server, someone has deleted, and our backup is available in this particular server at this particular location. So what we can do, we can just go to one EC2 backup Jenkins name Linux 2 micro, and then first server, and then select existing one, and then let me use default one. Okay, click on launch instance. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create one new EC2 instance. Okay, let us see how we can take, how we can restore our Jenkins. So it is in pending state. Able to follow up, right? Able to understand what I'm trying to tell?
Yes, Sagar.
Okay. So my Jenkins backup is running. Okay, so connect. Okay, this is my server. Sudo f1. So this is root user. So let me first set up Jenkins. We need to install Jenkins, right? So where is our document? So we have this. Let me install Jenkins first. Okay, and then let me try to copy this. Okay, and then let me try to upgrade my machine. And then let me try to install JDK and then install Jenkins. So JDK 11 is something, JDK 11 is what I'm trying to install. Okay, and then let me install Jenkins. Right, so let me start Jenkins. So what we have did, since our main Jenkins server is down, so I am trying to create one new EC2 and install Jenkins first. I'm trying to start this so that I can show you guys that nothing is available in this particular Jenkins. What happened? Okay. Let me copy this and try to access on browser, port number 8080. Okay, my Jenkins server has been started and it is asking for the credentials. So let let me cat paste, and this is my key. Continue. I don't want to install any plugins because everything has been backup, right? So select install. Let me click here. Okay, let it install some plugins. It will take a lot of time to deselect everything. Okay, so my Jenkins is ready, and this is a brand new Jenkins server. Skip as continue. Save and finish. Start using Jenkins. Okay, so in this Jenkins server, nothing is there, no jobs, nothing, right? So now what I will do, I will go to my backup server. So this was my backup. So let me try to copy this backup, SCP backup, and then EC2 or else. Before this, need to configure passwordless authentication, or else let me do one thing. Cat test.pem. Let me copy the pem key. This is my pem key, right? So this is the pem key which we can use to connect to the server. So let me copy this pem key. Yes, mode 600 and then test.pem, then scp-i test.pem, and then backup.tar ec2-user @ what is the public IP? So this server I want to copy. So let me use public IP :/tmp. I'm trying to push this particular backup from this server to my newly created Jenkins server. Yes. So backup 100 MB, 83 to 44. Overall, it was around 325 MB of file size. Okay, so this file has been copied successfully. So where this file is located in TMP. Okay, backup.tar. So let me move this file from TMP to varlib Jenkins. Okay, done. Varlib Jenkins. Here we have this backup file. Here we can see this backup file. Okay, now let me extract this. Tar extract verbose file backup.tar. So what it is trying to do, it is trying to copy everything. I mean, whatever was added, it is trying to extract. Okay, now if I'll do ll, we can see all the files here. Okay, so now let me try to restart. Okay, guys, 1 second. So backup file is in not proper location. 1 second. Okay. TMP and then copy backup file varlib. In this location only we should copy it. We should have copied it. cp backup.tar and then var/lib. Okay, cd var lib. Now I'm trying to extract tar, extract verbose file, and then backup.tar. So what it is doing, it is extracting all the files from the master machine to the backup server. Now if I'll do cd Jenkins, okay, and if I'll try to restart by Jenkins server, then we can find all the jobs and all the other details, whatever we have created over there. Okay, so how to restart? How can we restart our Jenkins server?
systemctl this.
Systemctl restart Jenkins. Apart from this, do we have any other ways to restart Jenkins?
In URL also we can put slash and we can type that.
Safe restart. Safe restart, what it will do, it will check if there are any jobs running or not. If no jobs are running, then only it will restart, or else it will wait until the jobs have been completed. Safe restart, or what was there? Restart. Okay, yes. So it is trying to restart my Jenkins server. So we can use systemctl or we can use the open APIs. So once this is restarted, then we can see the details.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, is there any necessity to attach this auto scaling to this Jenkins service?
No, not required.
Okay. What happens if
Can have
Jenkins server
slave.
got down, sir?
You can have different slave machines, or else you need to have this backup. See, everywhere there might be a scenario where we might see some downtime. That doesn't mean that we are implementing all the solutions and we are increasing the cost of that project. Okay, admin, and the password previously what I have kept is DevOps at the rate 123. I think that will work. Okay, see, first job, second job, we have got all the details. If I'll go to manage Jenkins, so in manage Jenkins we have deleted our slave, right? Got it? So this is how you can restore your Jenkins. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
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 Okay, now we are
So-
left with thin backup plugin. So try to explore thin backup plugin. Okay, and I think we are good for today. Guys, let me know if you have anything.
Yes, sir. But like, is there any way of automating this backup process?
You
Like,
need to have the bash script. That's what I mean today's task will be.
got it.
Guys, if you have any questions, let me know, or else we'll wind up this call and we'll meet tomorrow. Tomorrow's session will discuss. I mean, tomorrow's session is very important and it will be more about our actual source code, how our code is getting built, how we are integrating different tools for quality check, for compiling code to and storing the code in the artifacts. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, Ghosh, do you have anything?
No, actually, I have one thought regarding in each and every time we have to install Jenkins in EC2. Or
See,
is there any GUI level separate for that?
no. See. In our case, once completing our task, what we are doing, we are trying to terminate our EC2s to
Yes.
reduce the cost. But in Office, the server will be always up and running. They will not shut down and start whenever it is required, right?
Yes. Okay.
It will be always up and running. No need to install every time, each and every time. No need to install. The server is always up and running, so you can just go and use the set.
Okay.
So is there any other process to if I have forgotten username
Your
password?
voice is not clear, Shivakumar. So if you have forgot any password,
Yeah, username or password. Is there any process to recover it?
no, we cannot reconnect the password. Okay, if the admin user might reset your password, but if the admin itself has forgot the password, right? So what you can do is, here we have one file called config.xml. Okay, so let me go to this file. This is not recommended. Do not try to do this on your Office servers. Okay, this is only for testing or learning purpose. Okay, so in this security, instead of true, make this as false. False, and let me save this. I am trying to disable the security feature. Okay, now if I try to systemctl restart Jenkins, let us see what will happen. Your admin can try to reset your password, but if the admin itself has forgotten the password, then we cannot do anything. So once restarted,
Yesterday I faced these issues.
yeah, I know, because we are the admin users, right? So we might forget. See, always try to use some common password. You cannot do the same mistake in Office, right? So our server is restarted. So now if I'll try to restart this, see here, look at this particular page. What will happen? See, changed, right? So now anyone can log into this Jenkins. If they got this URL, you can log into my Jenkins. There will be no credentials. I mean, no username and password. It will not ask for any credentials. It will breach the security and log into the server.
After configuring, after resetting my password, can I change that to true and it will be
Try and see. Try and see. Even I haven't explored that option yet. If you have forgotten your password, then as part of testing, you can disable this and do, but as part of best practice, always try to create. I mean, it will be a practice for you also. Try to install Jenkins and try to use the new server.
Okay, sure.
Okay, guys, are we good?
Yes.
Yes.
Chalo then, bye.